Not all adaptations of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's iconic novels are good. Thankfully, Sherlock is terrific right out of the gates. Benedict Cumberbatch plays the leading role in the show, which serves as a modern reimagining of Sherlock's London exploits. Charm and elementary brain work come standard, but unlike most past renditions of the crime drama, many criminals manage to outwit Holmes. Still, Cumberbatch delivers a Sherlock that is surprisingly brawny and moody, with a dependable Watson or Martin Freeman to match. Everything about this show is excellent, from the writing and acting to the cinematography and sets. You wanna know what's not great? Their business practices. The show encapsulates a conflict between motorcycle gang leader Clay and his stepson, Jax. And Clay, the old-fashioned club president, wants to preserve the gang's risky and often aggressive methods for turning a profit, while Jax wants a better life for his new son. You're exposed to the lives of the bikers along the way, along with their inevitable encounter with the law and rival factions. Ryan Murphy's American Horror Story is a bit different than your typical episodic TV drama. It's an anthology. Each season presents a completely different self-contained storyline that revolves around a loosely defined theme. Netflix is currently streaming the first 3 seasons, the first of which follows a family who moves into a possessed house, and the most recent of which focuses on the turmoil brewing between a coven of modern-day witches. The repertory nearly always delivers regardless of the season, particularly Oscar winner Jessica Lange. The BBC Sleuths revolves around John Luther, Idris Elba, a brilliant but troubled English police detective, and his cases. It's similar to Sherlock in many ways, given Luther's detective work is always a bit unorthodox, except the reveals a grittier London than Sherlock. Elba's character is crude and unrelenting, and surprisingly, he often finds himself establishing bonds with criminals and taking the law into his own hands. He's a shoot-from-the-hip kind of character, with his biggest threat being the bureaucracy of his very own unit. When an 11-year-old boy is killed, the coastal town of Broadchurch is subjected to the onslaught of media attention. At only 8 episodes, this British show is easy to binge in a weekend, with twists and turns that will keep you watching. David Tennant stars as the head investigator of the murder and finds himself dealing with high emotions and high stakes on his search to find the person that would do an unthinkable act. The J.J. Abrams-produced cliffhanger that is lost begins with a group of plane crash survivors on a mysterious island. The show follows the lives of the survivors as they cope with the fact they'll never return to society. The show introduces an interesting psychological twist as they adapt to the island, revealing other island inhabitants, otherworldly forces, and time travel along the way. The show is fairly abstract, yet remains grounded enough to keep viewers engaged and remain arguably one of biggest binge-watching shows of all time. Showtime struck gold in 2006 with Dexter, a blockbuster show featuring a main character who doubles as both a serial killer and a blood splatter analyst for the Miami Metro PD. If this twist isn't enough to already hook you, Dexter chooses only to kill people he deems worthy of deserving to die, i.e. rapists, child molesters, murderers of the innocent, etc. As gripping as it is interesting, Dexter is quite the wild ride across its incredible, 8-season run. If you want all of the violence, nudity, and drama of Game of Thrones but prefer the Netflix binge-watching format, their new original series Marco Polo is worth a look. The series recounts a dramatized version of the titular explorer's time in Kublai Khan's court, a brutal ruler whose character shines as both a leader in battle and a conflicted soul. It's a little slow initially, but the character development and action sequences make the early drudgery worth it.